Time, 5:30 p.m.
Good evening, and welcome everyone. I'm sure you've missed us. Oh my God, we've not been on for so long. I've missed you all, and I hope that you've been well. Obviously, we're in a new month, the month of August. As far as I'm concerned, the coolest month in the entire calendar. But that's just my personal opinion. I am glad to have you all back at Family Time. Big up to those who are on FB Live and on YouTube Live. Welcome to all that are listening on Love 101 FM. Welcome to you. This is a Family Time, and Family Time is about your issues and your relationships, your at-home family, your community family, and your global family. Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to healthy nations. Now, we know that parents aren't supposed to bury their children, or that's what we hope. But for many parents, this is an unfortunate reality. How do some cope with that? That's the issue on Family Time today. We're talking about the loss of a child. For those of you who have experienced the loss of a child, we'd like to know, and we want you to help others to go through the grief and to move on from that loss. So we want you to answer this question for us. How are you coping with the loss of your child? WhatsApp your text and voice notes and make sure that they're no longer than 30 seconds to 876-997-3125, or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. You can also watch us and comment live on Love 101 FB and on YouTube. Stay with us and please join in via all our platforms, FB and YouTube, which are live, and via Instagram. We'll be right back with our special guest, June Spence Jarrett. Don't go anywhere.
Win a bag of cash for back to school with Alliance MoneyGram Money Transfer. Every MoneyGram Money Transfer you collect at an Alliance agent from now until September 9 gives you a chance to win a share of $2.8 million in cash. That's a bag of cash. 10 winners of $20,000 from each parish, right in time for back to school from Alliance.
A bag of things for back to school.
Alliance, a member of Sagicor Group Jamaica. Conditions apply.
Tell me where you get the money transfer.
Alliance.
Let's get up and go.
The I Love Summer Road Tours and Pull-Ups come to a close this coming Saturday, August 20, with the big one in cool Mandeville. Oh yes, it's time to wrap up the ILS Road Tour, and we're doing it in fine style. Mandeville, are you ready for the exciting music-filling, foot-stomping, belly buster laughing, enough niceness in the I Love Summer Road Tour? It's happening this coming Saturday, August 20. You can't afford to miss it, and it will be live on Love 101 FM, the family station. See you there.
I love summer. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Hello! Rata just got better with a new prime Rata bundle on Digicel, Jamaica's #1 LTE network. Serious? With up to 12 gigabytes of any-use data, up to 2,000 minutes for calls, plus dedicated data on Digicel apps, which now includes data for Spotify, Apple Music, and HBO Max. There's no better plan for all your content needs this summer. Say less. Me gonna get a plan up on the My Digicel app. Mr. Rata! Activate a prime Rata bundle today for as low as $175.
Operations Counseling Youth Center in association with Caribbean Dreams present Love in Action, an evangelistic mission thrust in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. We'll be walking through several of our Spanish Town communities, bringing good tidings. August 12 to 18, 2022, with the grand culmination in the Spanish Town Bus Park on August 19 at 5 p.m. Come on, come all. It's Love in Action, reaching the lost at any cost.
Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101. Today's topic is loss of a child. For our viewers and listeners who experience the loss of your child, we'd like to know, how are you coping with that loss? WhatsApp your text and voice notes and make sure, of course, they're no longer than 30 seconds to 876-997-3125. Watch us and comment live on Love 101, Facebook, and YouTube. Or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. Our special guest today is June Spence Jarrett. June is the Executive Director of the Anti-Doping Commission and an active member of the Mona Open Bible Church. She's given birth to 3 children, one of which died at 23. But that's her story to tell you. Welcome to the program, and how are you, June?
I am giving thanks. I'm giving thanks. God has been good to me.
As he has been to everyone. We bless God.
I don't know about you. I can only say about me.
Indeed. So we're going to just jump right into it. So tell us about yourself, June.
Before I begin with my topic, I just want to say, and I just want to leave this quote with somebody. Vicky Harrison said, "Grief is like the ocean. It comes on waves, ebbing and flowing. Sometimes the water is calm and sometimes it's overwhelming. All we can do is to learn to swim."
That's a beautiful quote, June.
Yes.
It is
Grief is like the ocean. It comes on in waves, ebbing and flowing. Sometimes the water is calm, and sometimes all is overwhelming. All we can do is learn to swim. That's what I have learned to do during my grief.
And I'm assuming that today you will help other parents that very, very, very important skill.
Yes. Well, if I might begin,
Go ahead.
as you had mentioned, I lost my son, my last child. I have 3 children, as you mentioned.
Yes.
A boy, a girl, and a boy. So it's Omar, Jody, and Jaime. And at age, Jaime went to Bulmer's Boys School. He went to St. Jude's Prep and then Bulmer's Boys School. He did very well, and he went on to Barry University in Florida. And he completed his studies and did so very well. I was so proud of him. We all went up for the graduation, every member of my family, including my granddaughter, Farah. And we went up and all of us sitting there, my in-laws, Monica, Sherman, all of us were sitting there. We were so proud of him because he got a high award when he graduated. There was so much hopes for this young man.
Yes.
There was so much hopes for him. And he decided that he would stay, do some work because he had internship to do some work. And then eventually he said, Mommy, I'll come back home. But it was not to be. I talked to him almost every day. He would call and he was my sweetheart. He used to call me the love of my life, my queen, everything. You take up the phone when you hear him. Even if you're sad, you understand. This boy cheer you up. And I went to bed and I dreamt. I couldn't sleep that night. And I just said, I don't understand why I'm not sleeping. And my mind was just on Jaime. And my son, it was his birthday on the 25th of May. And my son went up, Omar, the eldest child, went up with his gift. He said, Mommy, I want a Movado watch for my birthday. So we all decided that is his gift. Omar went up to spend the birthday with him. And he spent a week and he came back the Saturday morning. And while I was there thinking about him all night, and the morning I got up, I couldn't take my heels. I said, I have to call him. I'm calling, and I'm not getting to him. And then eventually he answered the phone and said, Mommy, and I said, oh, love of my life, I'm good to hear you. And you know the niceties. And I said, boy, I was trying to call you now. Just my mind is just on you. What happened? You okay? And he said, I'm fine, mommy. I just want to give you a good news. I'm going to Barry and I'm going to do my interview today because he's now gotten through to do another program and he's going to be taken on to do assist the lecturer. So he was going into to sign his contract. I said to him, giving him the motherly advice and the motherly tips. And he said, okay, mommy, I'll call you at 3:00 because that's the time when I should conclude everything. So I'll call you at 3:00 and let you know what is happening. I said, okay, son. And I said, where's Omar? And he said to me, Omar is gone to the airport. I said, you didn't take him? And he said, no, mommy, because I have to prepare for the interview. And so Omar left to come back to Jamaica this Saturday. I was at Correctional Services at the time. And I was headed to Maypen to be a guest speaker. So my driver was taking me down and I was in the car. And I noticed that he was getting these calls frequently and more frequently. And I said, Robert, what is this? And he said to me, nothing, madam, nothing. And then I just saw when he spun the car around, I was heading back to Kingston. I just said, God, whatever it is, just prepare my heart, prepare me for it. And he drove and he never said a word. And I was there just praying and praying and praying. When I got near to where I live in Mona,
Yes.
I saw cars line my gate down to almost to the end. And I said to him, I wonder if it's my brother, my brother. I said, I wonder if it's my brother got sick or anything is happening to him. I wonder if it's Omar. I wonder if it's Jody. I wonder if it's any of the grandchildren. And I was there until I drove up to the gate. I got out of the car. And immediately I got out of the car, one of my friends came and hugged me. And I said, what is it? What is it? What is it? I said, is it Omar? Is it Jody? Then I saw Omar. I didn't see Omar. I saw Jody appear. I said, is it my brother? I saw Danny appear. And so I said, oh my God, is it Timmy? And they didn't answer. And I went down. And I bombed up and down. And and persons were coming. And my dear pastor came and his wife, and I saw my church sisters. They came on and they said, and I said, what is happening to Jaime? And somebody said to me, Jaime is dead. I said, you got to be crazy. I just spoke to him. I'm expecting him to call me to tell me about. I said, no, don't say that. And I rushed inside. I don't know when I went down on the floor, but I sat on the floor. And I flat down, sat right down on the floor in my TV room. And when I sat there, my pastor, Gregory Morris, God bless him, came and sat. His wife sat, and another church sister, Sister Hannah, sat there, and we were there sitting on the floor. Another brother sat beside me there and was sitting on the floor, and they were just looking at me. Nobody was saying anything. And I'm not saying anything more than, please God, let it be not so. Please God, I was just saying that. And it was so. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't do anything at all. And my friends who were doctors, one of the doctors was a psychiatrist at the department, and another doctor, Marjorie Basler and Dr. Lily, they came and they were offering me. One wanted to give me an injection. I said, oh, dear you. Another one went and they got. I said, I'm taking absolutely nothing. I am going to work it out because my God promises to be with me at all times.
Wow.
And it's still, well, one thing I can tell you, I had support. And in this time when you're going through all of this, if you don't have support, it's trouble for you because you need it. At this time, you're fragile, you're frail. Anything can happen to you. I'm just there. I can't eat. A friend of mine who had lost her child about a month before mine, she came every day and fed me a spoon of soup. And when I tasted it, it tastes so bad. And it was a nice soup, but it tastes bad. I couldn't go to work. They brought all the work that I have to do at my office, my secretary, everybody, they brought it up. My staff at correctional service was so supportive to me. They brought it up, and then I have to keep myself occupied. So I had to do the work, and I can't sleep. So I must find something to do. But I can't put myself together to go to work. Huh? And in the night, I was keep calling. I remember calling a relative of ours in Florida who's very close to Jaime. And I said, call him because I am calling him and he's not answering my phone. He's not answering and he's there. Call him. And she said, but I call him and he's not answering too. And she started to cry. And believe me, I couldn't, for the first part, I could not cry. I could only groan. But can I tell you, Audra, I felt the pain when I heard he died. The pain I felt was like I was giving birth. And as you said before, no parent should bury their child. But that happened to me. He was 23. He was married 2 months before he died. So all was in train for him to be employed up there, to continue to his second degree, and all that was in train. But it did not materialize. And I said, his purpose was fulfilled. And so God took him. I didn't want to hear about what has caused it. They said he was accidentally shot. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to pursue anything. You can't bring him back to me because I wanted to have him. He was very close to me. And when I tell you close, because he was the only one that was asthmatic. And I remember in the morning, early 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I threw him over my shoulder, threw him in the car. I don't wake up my husband. I don't wake up anybody else in the house that him the helper. And I throw him in the car, wrap him up, and I go with him like my little baby. And this is the sort of bonding that we had. And to see that age 23, he was gone. I made sure he had a car to drive. Whatever I earned, I make sure his credit card was dealt with. And remember, I had my husband had died. So it just left me and my 3 children. And you understand? So you have to ensure that they were okay. But when I tell you about a supportive sibling, his brother took it hard, his sister. We're lucky for Jody. At the time she was in mid school. Okay. And she was doing exam. And God helped her that she got through the exams. She's now a consultant, gynecologist, and obstetrician. And I said, to God be the glory. You have taken one from me, but you have restored. And I'm saying thanks to God every day of my life. But I can tell you, it was difficult. It has been difficult. I spent 2 weeks at home, did not go to work. But I had an understanding. At that time, I was a deputy commissioner, and I had an understanding boss who understood what was happening. But during all of this, I never let up on my work. It was always on top. Although I was going through my grief and my pain. At the funeral service, they had a funeral service for him up in Miami. And you should hear the lecturers and the friends in the university speak about my son. And I was just now convinced that his purpose was fulfilled. It was difficult. I went through all the stages, Audra. And some psychologists, psychiatrists says that it is 7 stages of grief, the grief process. Mm-hmm. But I took the one from Kubler-Ross that says denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. I went through all of those stages. I never allow, because you cannot get fixated at any one of those points. You have to cross over. He died the 2nd of June, 2007. It is still fresh in my mind. Can't forget it. That love you never get rid of it, but each day it gets better. He said, little by little, we let go of the loss but we never let go of the love. And this is what happens. I love my boy. I love my children. I love them dearly. But I'm telling you, when he went, a part of me went with him. And
So
I
Dream,
know
we're going to backtrack a little because I want you had told me about Jaime and where he was in life. And you had mentioned that your younger daughter, she was in med school, and your older son. But where in general, where was the family? What place was the family at that time when Jaime passed away? Um,
Well, I will tell you that it affected every one of the Jaime, it affected Jody, and it affected Omar. More so Omar. You can understand Jody, who is a medical doctor, would know how to cope and deploy all the coping mechanism. Huh?
yes.
Because she will be, you know, because she has to deal with patients and she has to deal with all sorts of things. So she is able to not outwardly show hers, which was what I was fearful of. But Omar, although he was a boy, he was the eldest one, he cried openly. Everybody could see him crying, not only cry, but weep, because all three of my children are very close, extremely close. There was this special bonding with them. And this is how we grew up as a knitted family. We're not a large family. And when daddy died, daddy had just died 2 years before. So it just left Jaime, Omar, and Jody, the three of us. So we had to be there for each other. No, Jaime was gone. Can you understand what was happening?
Just like one thing after the other because you're just recovering from your husband. You're trying to recover because you've not recovered yet. 2 years is in no way enough time to recover and grieve for your husband.
Don't
Much
recover,
less
and
that
then something
after
hits
that,
you.
your son just like that.
The last one, just like that.
Wow.
It just was not easy to cope with. But can I tell you, Audra, without God, you cannot get through this. And I remember Job, he said, what I fear most has come upon me. And I use my scripture, my Bible. And I can probably, it's an opportune time for me to say to Pastor Gregory Morris, the pastor of the Mona Open Bible Church, how much I appreciate him and his wife Debbie. They helped me to get through this. I remember mornings when I wouldn't go to church during this time. Debbie would come and sit in my bedroom with me and pray with me, not say anything more than praying. And eventually she pulled me out and I went back to church. Support is important. I have a very good church family. I have another friend who is Jacqueline Hinkson, who was always there holding my hand. I just feel like I should just call them. Some of my in-laws, Annette, Monica, they were all there for me, helping me to cope. It was not easy, but God did it for me. And I tell you, little by little, we let go of the loss, but never let go of the love. It lives within us. I took on I went through the stage of denial, I said it cannot be true. It cannot be true. And this went on and went on. And when I decided I got through that denial stage. When the body came, because I had to take it from Florida to here, and Romans took care of it for me. And my son went up, because he came in on the Saturday only to meet up on the death, because when he left, he was alive and well. And Jody, my daughter, who had exam the next, I think it was Monday, had to go back to Florida with him to see that everything was all right and set it up. And they came back. So he had to take another plane right out the Sunday morning, and the two of them went. Can you understand? Both of them went. And so left me alone, but I had God, and I had my church family, I had my pastor, I had my friend Jackie, I had Annette, and I just had those persons around me. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything for myself. I was just useless for the beginning. But I got over that he's really dead when I saw him lying in that casket. Look, and I said, boy, you're looking at me and you're smiling up. And I just had to bend over. And nobody could tell me I shouldn't hug my son and bring closure to that. He's not with me. And I said, I'm going to do the reflections, the ones persons call eulogy. I call it reflections. And I went, and I did it.
You did it.
I did it.
You found the strength to do it.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Audra, God was preparing me for all of this. Because when I fully gave my life up to God in 1999, my entire life was changed. I was not the same June that I used to be. God was preparing me for what was coming. And I'm telling you, I made sure when I went up there and I did my reflections, before I said any word, I raised my two hands to God and I said, Father, I will never bury any more children. Any of my children will not be buried by me. And I asked the entire church to stand in agreement with me. And I know God listened to that. God answered that prayer. And he's not going to allow that to happen to me again. I've been through it.
Wow.
But God has been good. Without God, your life is absolutely nothing. I miss my son, but God understands and he knows best.
And this is where I pause you for a little while, June, because your story is just so enthralling. Like, I can only sit and listen to you, and I want to encourage our listeners. I want to encourage our viewers to call, to text, tell us of your story, of how you are dealing with the grief of losing a child. And you are free to call. You can call us on the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. June has so graciously, allowed you to call to give, not only advice to you, but to probably help you along the way as to how you can go through the waves, as she described it earlier on, of grief, how to swim, how to get over those high humps, and how to get through when the water's a bit calm. She's here to enable, to assist you in getting the skill of going through, swimming through the grief. And we're going to break here for a little while. And we just want to say, listen, if you have anything to tell us where it concerns you dealing with the grief of losing a child, please share with us. Call us. We're looking forward to your responses. WhatsApp, text, and voice notes no longer than 30 seconds to 876-997-3125. You can watch us and comment live on our Love 101 Facebook and YouTube page, or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. June, as I said, has graciously decided to answer your questions on grieving. So please don't feel ashamed, just call. Don't feel scared, just call. And just so you know, the numbers for the FLM head office in Kingston are 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. When we get back, June Spence Jarrett will still be here. Don't go anywhere.
Sometimes all we need is a listening ear. The listening ear, the counseling, the logical reasoning, and spiritual guidance are what appeal to us. That's why I'm here. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, the counselor, your counselor on Love 101 FM, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. You know you can call on me. I will listen and more. So let's talk about what's bothering you. Anything. Tune in, listen, call in, text, or voice message. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney.
counseling psychologist, ready with a listening ear. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. Right here on the family station, Love 101 FM.
Mommy, is who I ticket?
Hush, child. Me no want them see we.
But mommy, is the census takers?
Me not tell them my business.
But mommy, they need information about all the households to help make decisions about where to put things like clinics, stores, and new roads.
So?
Come, mommy. You count, me count, all of we count.
Census Day is September 12th. Look out for the national census takers in your community and let them know you count.
Crime Stop Jamaica 311 Unsolved. We need your help to solve the murder of 73-year-old Patrick Lawrence, a businessman and motel operator of 12 Top Road, St. Anne's Bay. A customer tried to rent a room at 10 p.m. on Saturday, 14th of May 2022, but couldn't find Mr. Lawrence. The police were summoned on Sunday morning, and Mr. Lawrence's body was discovered close to a staircase with wounds to his head. Crime Stop and concerned citizens are offering a total reward of $750,000 for information leading to an arrest and charge. Call Crime Stop Jamaica 311. Solving crime pays.
Welcome back to Family Time. And today we are talking about the loss of a child. Now we have a lot of participants this week, and we are thankful and grateful that you have decided to participate. Christine Otter from Oracobessa says, "Good evening. I lost one of my sons in a car accident almost 8 years. He was 27 and he lives for 7 months. He lived for 7 months. He was 27. Okay. I deal with it through prayer and with the help of my family and church family. It isn't easy, but his memories keep me going, and his 2 girls he left behind. I have 4 children, 1 girl and 3 boys, and he was a twin with my daughter." Oh, my Christine, my condolences to you. And it's amazing that you are actually using prayer and your church family are there as a support system. We have a comment from Nardia Green, and this is from Facebook. She says, "Good afternoon. I recently lost my child in June. Wow. It not easy. He went full term and died shortly after birth." My condolences to you, Nadia. I really hope that God's grace and his peace be with you today. We have Exit22, and this is YouTube. "Mother, I thank God for strengthening you through that time of distress. I would imagine the pain lingers, but God, who has preserved you to this point, will continue to sustain you." Wayne Campbell says, "Thank you, Mrs. Jarrett, for sharing your heart-wrenching story. Unable are the loved to die, for love is immortal." And this is by Emily Dickinson. And that is it for the comments on our topic. Please continue to share. We want to hear from you. How are you coping with the loss of your child? And June, this is what I want you to come in, and I want you to give a word of encouragement, especially to Nardia. Have the years that you had with Jaime. 23 years. She didn't have that. She had, maybe a couple of days. Not even that, because she said shortly after he died after birth. So can you just give a word of encouragement to Nardia?
Nardia is the one that had the child for 26. He was 27?
No, that was Christine. So Christine had her child died when he was 27, and he was a twin. But Nardia is the one that her baby came to full term, and he was birthed, but shortly after he died.
Okay. I would just say to Nadia, lean on God for strength. The same God. And I believe firmly, that sometimes when these things happen, it's for a purpose. It should teach us a lesson. Something should be taught from all of this. God is going to restore. Don't think of the loss that you have had in June, but just remember, cast your care upon God, for he cared for you. He's going to restore. And I'm just going to declare that that child that is lost, it is going to be restored. It's not going to be the same child, but another child will be restored to you shortly. Continue to trust God, lean on him, Don't get angry about this. Huh? Don't feel depressed about this, because depression is the worst stage of grief. Because if you stay and be prolonged in the stage of depression, it can lead to serious health issue. Continue to get your support from your family and friends, especially your spouse, and just trust in God that He will restore.
So June, I want you to give her as well, and to Christine, some practical ways in which they can lean on God. Because sometimes when we say lean on God, we might know as Christians because of our experience, but somebody who may not be a Christian or may not be as strong in the faith or has been there for a long time, they don't know, they don't understand what it means to actually lean on God. When you say lean on God, what are you telling her to do practically?
Well, I read the word, because in the Bible, there is a word for every situation in your life. And I read the word, and I pray, and I fast. And I believe if you don't have a church family or somebody you can talk to as a Christian, you need to find one, seek some solace there. But read the word, read the word, read the word. Find some gospel songs that you like, that can build you to, and build up, I call it build up my immune system, because at that time your immune system is so weak. But when you have the word and the gospel songs and the prayer, it builds up your immune system. I was weak and frail, and I tell you something, Kathy. He was buried on the 16th of June, 2007. I remember everything about my son, everything, birthdays, whatever we do. I have his pictures all over his room. Every Christmas I do a makeover for his room, and I just cherish his memory, because and I remember that morning I did not sleep for 2 weeks, and that morning I just went into a little sleep, and one of my church sister called me and I just jumped up, and she said, "Are you going to work?" And I said, "No." She said, "Oh man, come on now, I'm praying for you." And she started to pray, and I didn't hear what she said after that, because I went back into a sleep. And I know it was God who spoke to me and said certain things to me. And when I couldn't understand, he said, "Get up and write." And I started, I write. I have it all now written down, but I don't wish to share it. And I wrote, and the song that came, "Jesus shall lead me beside the still waters, down in the valley." And the song that hit me said, "As dark as the dungeon where the sun never shines." Because at that time, there was no sun shining in my situation. It was all dark and gloom. I felt like giving up. I felt as if it was not worth living anymore, because I've lost my precious boy, who I have done, I've invested so much. I love him so much. One member is gone out of the family, and here we are again. And I got that song, and I got the word from the Lord, and it has never been the same. I got up the next morning, put on my clothes, called my driver, he picked me up, and I went off to work, and I've never stopped working since then.
Wow. Just like
and
that.
I delved into the word, and all the things, all his memories, I keep it. I have his pictures. If you come into my house, a picture of him is all over the place. And I keep, and I remember him saying to me, "Mommy, when I start to work and work some good money, Mommy, I am going to buy you a black Mercedes Benz." Audrey, you know what I did? God blessed me with some money, and I bought a black Mercedes Benz. And this car is still around in the family and can't be sold because it has so much memories.
That's so much meaning attached
I
to it.
bought the car, and every time I think about it, say, "This is what Jaime wanted for me. He died before he could give me. So let me just do what I have."
And it is something to know, June. I think what a lot of the things that you're saying is that even through prayer, what you can say to God, you might not necessarily feel comfortable saying it, to someone else, and that in and of itself can provide some level of catharsis, some level of release, some level of
Cleansing.
A breath of fresh air to be able to say that. And I just think that is just awesome. We have some more text coming in from WhatsApp. It says, I lost my baby at the age of 2 weeks, and some days she died, and 2 weeks and some days she died in my arms. I held her from her heartbeat was at 150 until 0. That's one of the worst things. The image in my mind is still fresh. I have no more children. And oh, what a pain and a burden that must be. But, and I will say to you, as June has been saying, you can get through it if you have the support of family and friends. And even if you have no one to come and talk to you, it's okay to go and seek that support that you need. Because at the end of the day, there is life beyond death. There is life beyond death. And we have another WhatsApp. It says, hello, panel. I lost my daughter. 6 months now. Pray for me. It is not easy.
Not easy at all.
And Paulette Coel says, I lost my child and it's not easy. And it's the same thing that's coming up. It's not easy. It's not easy losing a child. It's not easy seeing that person that you thought would bury you, really. You know, to live a life that is full and to give you your grandchildren, and you have so many ideas, especially when you're pregnant, so many ideas of what the child would be, and you know, to know that it will never come to fruition. It is painful, but it is something. June is here. Her son passed away almost 15 years ago, and she's here, and she's still living a full life regardless of that loss. And you, I believe, you're able to live beyond that. Angela Warren from Facebook says, losing a child is not easy. I lost my son 14 years ago, and it's like yesterday. It's almost as if the memory never goes away.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to move on. And you know, June, I want you to tell us, you mentioned how the church was supportive. You had very supportive family, very supportive friends. You had even your pastor there for you. I want you to tell me if you have any ideas for that person who does not have that level of support that you would have had. How do you think that they can get over this mountain? Because it's not a hump. It is indeed a mountain, losing a child. How can they start that process of grief or move from that era in the grief process where they are stuck to actually completing the process?
Well, I'll tell you something about them. You can't, it's not easy, especially if you don't have support. But at least you must have one person that you can reach out to. Because it is said that you must always have a friend. And seek a friend before you need a friend. That's quite very important. And I've proven this so time after I've been through this. And it's not just my son, you know, I've been through several deaths after that. But the one that hit me bad was my son. Because remember, he's a part of you. So any mother who goes through that will always remember, will always have that pain carrying. Life is not going to be the same, but you have to cope, especially when you have other children, because they're looking to you too for support. Because when we were going through all of this, Omar and Jody needed my support, and I needed their support. So we used to just bond together and hug and cry. And let me tell you something. One thing I tell everybody: don't make anybody tell you don't cry. Any way you need to deal with it, you have to find a comfortable way of dealing with it. And everybody's situation is unique. I might tell you how I deal with it. Another person can't deal with it the way I deal with it. You know how I deal with mine? I pray, I read my Bible, I seek the word, and I get myself occupied at all times. I must be doing something. So they used to say, Mommy, you're a workaholic, you know, you can't stop now. I keep my mind and my body, and I keep singing, and I will just talk. And sometimes you get a little miserable too, you know, at times they'll tell you, oh, Mommy gets so miserable. Because that is one of the stages that you go through, you know. You pass off your anger into something because it's transferring something to another person because you can't deal with what is happening. Nothing is wrong with that either. And if you need to I used to beat my pillow, cry and beat my pillow. This is another way of getting out some of my emotions because you can't have it pent up. But all that I'm saying, Audrey, person need to have even one person that you can really rely on to talk to. Don't be ashamed. To cry is not a weakness, it's a strength. And to seek help is a strength. Walk into the church and find a pastor, somebody to talk with. Don't sit there. And you know, we always like to roll over and call it the pity party. And see when people see you crying and you draw attention. No, you will not get over this if you don't take the bull by the horn and take it in strides and move on. Difficult, even now, when it is his birthday, I bawl. When it is Mother's Day, and I know always wherever he is, I'm getting a gift or something from he was a child growing up. I bawled. I remember him. Christmas is the worst time for my family. So we always have to find something to do. But in all of this, Audra, God has been good. I have learned since his death, there are some lessons, some hard lessons I've learned.
And June, we're going to have to hold on before you tell us the lessons that you've learned. We have to go on a break. Now. So we're heading into our final break. And this is Family Time, live on Love 101 FM, YouTube, and FB. It's produced by Family Life Ministries. In our social media interaction, for those of you who experience the loss of a child, we'd like to know, how are you coping with the loss of your child? Let us know via WhatsApp, text, and voice notes, no longer than 30 seconds, to 876-997-3125 on the Love 101 Facebook page, the Love 101 YouTube channel, or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 8 to participate. We're also live on FB and on YouTube. We want to hear from you. Don't go away. This evening, the issue of loss of a child is being discussed. We'll be right back.
Love 101 presents Facts on Monkeypox. The monkeypox virus comes from the same family of viruses as smallpox, but it is not related to chickenpox. Common symptoms of monkeypox are fever, headache, muscle aches, and swollen lymph nodes. Monkeypox also causes a rash that looks like raised bumps on the skin. The virus typically spreads through bodily fluids or by touching the rash of someone who has monkeypox. Animals can also pass the virus to humans either by being scratched or bitten by the animal or by preparing, eating meat, or using products from an infected animal. That was Facts on Monkeypox, presented by Love 101 FM.
Planning to sit the January CXC CSEC exams privately? Register with Overseas Examinations Commission before the registration deadline, October 14, 2022. Visit our Kingston office or Montego Bay office to complete your application form or send an email to help@overseasexams.org.jm. Follow our social media pages at Overseas Exams for more details. Remember, if you plan to sit the January CXC CSEC exams privately, the registration deadline is October 14, 2022.
Welcome back to Family Time. We have been talking about the loss of a child, and our special guest today is June Svenstrait. And before we continue our conversation, June, we're going to take the voice note that we have in studio. We're not hearing.
Good evening. I have been through it. I lost my only one child. Was a boy about 26 years ago, and I never get pregnant again. I was so upset with God. But when I grow and get into the faith, I realize I know say God knows what's best for us. He dies 2 months before his first birthday, when he passed off, he was about 10. He was walking, talking, and everything. And I go through that period before the funeral. And after the funeral, I don't eat for 3 weeks straight. After the funeral, I don't eat for 3 weeks straight. For the funeral, I was up and down, but when the day of the funeral, I don't eat for 3 weeks. And until now, enter my house. There's picture of him. I know I don't have the closure, but I still going on, and I know God is there with me. Sometimes when I enter my bedroom and look on his picture, water drop out of my eyes. My church sister and my pastor said I must let go of it. It's been so long. When he passed off, I wasn't a Christian then, but sometimes it the memory come back. But I'm still alive and I'm giving God thanks. It could have been worse. When I think I was gonna lose my mind. And I really overcome it sometimes I overcome it, but I'm still sometimes struggle with the grief. And I ask God for strengthen her and bless her that she can give her testimony to so many people.
Thank you. Who that was. We thank you very much for those comments. And we have some other comments both on YouTube and on Facebook. It says, Janetta Thomas says, I lost two, child 29 years ago, and it's not easy at all. But the good Lord keep me through it. A few days old and the other 6 months and 2 weeks. 2 children at the same time, 29 years ago. Wow. We have Angela Warren that says, when you know God, he will definitely give you comfort. Wayne Campbell says, it is important that those of us who experience or are experiencing death of a loved one take the time to grieve. Do not allow anyone to rob you of that time. However, moving on is equally important. Marjorie from Facebook says, I lost my daughter on her sister's birthday. Wow. It wasn't easy, but God kept me. Dion Clark says from Facebook, when you lose a child to violence, it's harder to deal with than when your child dies naturally. And Patricia Hall says from Facebook, good afternoon. I have 3 children. My husband died. 5 after my son crashed. 5 years after my son crashed and died. It's not easy. I cry from Miami to Jamaica. God only you can ride you. God is the only one that can ride you through this. We don't get closure very easily. And Wayne was saying we need more grief support in Jamaica. A lot of persons have really gone through the loss of a child. And I just want to say it's okay to grieve, right? As June has been saying, we grieve in different ways. Just ensure that you have the support that you need. And I want to ask you, June, when is it important for you to seek counseling as a parent?
All right, as I mentioned before, some psychiatrists, psychologists say that there are 5 stages to grieving. Others say there are 7. When you are not overcoming all the stages, you need to seek counseling.
And just remind us of the stages again.
I think I had mentioned denial,
Yes.
anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. That's the one I use, the Ross Kubler stage. And there are others who mention fear and despair as the other stages, but I use that 5. I went through all stages. And one, I encourage all my fellow colleagues, sisters, brothers who have lost a child, don't get fixated at any one stage. Try to move on, and only God can help you with support to move on. I don't mean when you're talking about getting support, I don't mean talking words. Sometimes all you need is a listening ear for somebody. You just pour out, and just keep talking. This is a part of the strategy that you can use you know, and let somebody listen to you. Sometimes you feel like you're saying foolishness. It's not foolishness. You just need to get over it. Don't let anyone tell you that you must stop. I hear somebody said that the pastor said, and some churches say you need to get over. Don't allow anybody to tell you that. Take your time. Every individual is unique to their own situation. And it depends on how you and that child were together, the bonding you had. Some it takes a longer time, some it takes a shorter time. Don't allow anyone to rush you into this. It's not good. One thing I beg of you, do not stay into the depression stage. It can lead to other issues, health issues. You don't need that. I can tell you when I was before the break, I was saying to Audra what I learned from all of this. Anything you have in life, don't cling to it. Don't cling. Cling. It's hard to say it. You know what it has taught me when I lost my precious boy? And if you even see me get a little emotional, it's not that I have not gotten over my stages. But when I reflect on what could I have done better, sometimes I keep saying, Lord, I should not have allowed him to stay. I should take him back home. Why did I do that? And then I bargaining, there's a stage that is called bargaining, And I said, Lord, just allow me to get over this. Take me through. Let me have a sound mind. I will continue to serve you. So the bargain we got, He said, this is what you need to do for me. And he has been doing that. You know what I've learned? Don't hang on to anything. Since then, if I have something and you want it, it is not too precious to me for me to hand it over to you. I have lost my precious child. I can't get him back. So nothing else is precious to me that I can't give it to you. I have learned that. Not to idolize and keep anything for self. I have learned strong lessons. I have learned to appreciate more. I have learned to trust God more. This death of my son has brought me closer to my God. I could have lost my mind. I invested so much. I used to run from, when you get your salary and run to the bank. Whoops! To pay his credit card bill, send off his rent, send off this. And when he was gone and I couldn't do it anymore, I started to do it, And I said, what am I doing? He's gone. You need to let go of certain things and just let God arise in your life. Put God first in everything. God has been good to me. He has been so good to me. And I'm telling you, I have gone through my stages. I'm at the acceptance stage where I've accepted that he's gone. He's not going to return to me. I used to say, Christmas is soon come. So during that time, I don't worry because I'm looking forward to seeing him on the Christmas. I realized, no, he's gone. I'm not going to see him again. But I hope to meet him someday. I used to go to Dovecot, and you make sure that his grave and son is, that sort of thing. I love my son, but I have to let go of it and let God arise in my life and take care of the two. I have my two precious ones. I have two precious ones that are there. Thank God for them. And I just say, God, I thank you. One is gone. I have two left. There are some persons who have no more. And so that is where it kicks in. The reality kicks in. I thank God every day for his grace and his mercies and his goodness towards me. He has been so good. He has been so good, and I'm encouraging persons who are listening to my voice. Put God first in your life. Put God first in your life, and all other things will become easier for you. I didn't say it won't come because God never promised us a rose garden. And he didn't promise that no evil will come nigh our dwelling, but he will help us to get through it.
And that is where we have to wrap up today.
I just want to leave a little quote with you for them, There's a sacredness in tears. They are not the mark of weakness, but of power. They speak more eloquently than 10,000 tongues. They are the messengers of overwhelming grief, of deep contrition, and of unspeakable love. Cry if you must. God bless you, my listeners. God continue to bless you. And I'll keep you all in my prayer. And I'll reach out to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much, June, and thanks for being with us. If you have questions of a personal nature or are concerned about a friend or family member, call us at Family Life Ministries. For our center in Portmore at 117 Cecile Avenue, call 876-939-7917. For more information on our services or for our concerts in Kingston and other parts of the island, contact our head office at 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. Note that appointments can only be made by calling the offices. Otherwise, to keep up to date with what's happening with FLM and our programs, find us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries and subscribe to our YouTube page, Family Life Ministries, FLMJA. Before we leave you, here is this evening's Bible verse. Psalm 73:26. It says, "My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever." Join us again next week at 5:30 p.m. on Love 101 FM, FB and YouTube Live via the Love 101 Facebook page and Love 101 YouTube channel for another informative program. Thanks again to our special guest, June Spence Jarrett. Thanks also to our show producer, Kathy Gale, Open Door Communications, studio facilitator, Timoy Butler, and of course, you for all those who participated today. Those whose comments I couldn't read, maybe next time we'll have them out there. Stay well, stay safe, stay blessed. I'm Audra Williams. Have a great evening.